Y'all smell that? I smell a goat. What's up, guys? I'm Hunter, and here we are to do a breakdown and review for chapter 134 of 4 Nights of the Babalaba, which is known as The Stranger. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, ladies and gentlemen. This chapter is short, but oh, do it be sweet. Golly gee willikers, fellas. While I am slightly worried for Nakama just based on how short and yet simultaneously incomplete this chapter is, I am simultaneously super duper excited to see what comes next. But of course, before we even get into what comes up next, we must go into what we have today. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me. Ready? 3, 2, 1. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, I don't know. Something seems a little bit suspicious about this entire chapter. Is this a new font? Or am I just insane? Like, I don't think I've ever seen this font for the title before. 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. I don't ever remember seeing this font. I don't remember seeing this font. Well, I mean, this 7 Deadly Sins font was familiar, though. So maybe I am just losing my mind? But I don't know. It hit me the wrong way in the live reaction, which you can check it over on Patreon for as low as $1 a month, or become a member for as low as $3 a month to check out. It's about 20 minutes long. But with that being the case, I don't know. Something about that font seems unfamiliar. And speaking of unfamiliar, this guy right here, is he going to get a name? Is this like Nakama? We spent too long with it. We spent what? For 134, we spent about a solid 4 chapters of the time skip with this guy, and you still haven't even named him. Or his sister. Like, don't get me wrong, I know they aren't gonna be that important, but like, you gave Mead a name in the original series. I think you even gave I think you even gave Mead's dad or like family a name. You named like the false, like those kids playing 7 Deadly. Like, Nakama, how come you refuse to name drop this guy? Huh? He just don't want to come up with another one, don't want to burn another name. I can understand that. You got a lot of characters. But this cover page is nice and it's kind of cute. I do like it. It's the goat, obviously missing an arm and a leg. You know, I always joke about the things I do for an arm and a leg, but Gother literally did it for an arm and a leg, and he's currently cooked right now. We got the goat Sylvan. I do love how Sylvan is actually looking up towards Gother like, the goat, no! One goat to another. They're deeply worried about each other. Well, mainly Sylvan worried about Gother. Gother's kind of just vibing in this cover page. And I do like how Anne is kind of doing like the Captain America grab onto the building, grab onto the helicopter. Like, she's straight gripping Gother's wrist, gripping Donnie's hand, and presumably has Sylvan's flanks in a chokehold, just straight gripping onto him so he doesn't escape. So she's got the tri-grip on right now. I gotta respect that. The durability. I also gotta respect that she has it on her and keeps it on her at all times. But so does the Donners, who's still looking so jacked and juicy, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie, dog. I know it's been 2 years, but jeez. Bro's beefier than a sirloin steak right now. Golly. I'm interested to see him, like, incorporate his weaponry into his magic, though. That's one thing. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately. It is kind of just the nature of her magic. And due to the nature of her magic, kind of can't do magic infusion in a similar way that Tristan can, or hypothetically Gawain can, or Percy can, heck, even Lance can. Like, notably, she can't do that. If anything, any magic reinforcement she does would just have to be, like, basic, coded in generic magic, or have it coded by somebody else. But with that being the case, Donners, I'm interested to see how he uses his weapons with his magic, because he still does have his dagger on him, and he has the shield. So I'm interested to see how he builds those into his combat combos. Naka's very creative when it comes to using characters and their weapons when he feels like it. Very specifically when he feels like it. So I'm interested to see how that ends up cooking out. But let's not waste any more time in the cover page. Let's actually hop right into chapter 134. So we open up, and we do get to see that they are falling straight out of the chaos hole. And like, I got a question for you. Are y'all leaping into a chaos hole? Like, ever? Like, notably, I get why the holes look like this. Or at least I have a game theory on why the... Manga theory. I have a manga theory on why the holes look like this. I think the main reason Arthur made it so that the natural, because no, we have an unnatural one that we're going to talk about in a bit, but this natural breach in Camelot's dimensional structure, I get why they look like this, because I'm presuming it's meant to discourage anybody who doesn't know they're mostly safe. in the sense that a random civilian like Homeboy, who's yet to get a name, maybe he wouldn't dive into something that looks like this just because, like, I wouldn't. If I were to walk outside, go up the nearest hill, look over, and see a massive gaping hole in creation that's sparking with lightning and swirling like a tornado, I'll admit, my last thought would be hopping in that bad boy. I'd be just a teeny tiny bit scared. By teeny tiny bit, I would never go anywhere close to that thing for fear of my own life. But with that being the case, I guess that's why they look like that. But can you imagine, like, say you are working for Arthur, you know these things are mostly safe, and he says, hey, you, go to Chaos Hole number 345 and dive through it. I need you to go check on something there. Like, even if I knew it was safe, I probably would hesitate a whole lot. But with that being the case, we do get to see that they all fall right on through. And the Donner's the bigger Donnie. He immediately decides that, you know what, I've been backpacking, I might as well keep backpacking, and saves everyone. He straight up says, wait a minute, ooh, and pauses everybody in midair as he goes, stop, hammer time, and catches everybody, including himself. Now this is very interesting. It looks like in order to stop himself, he sends one hand downwards, yet to catch the others, he sends the other hand upwards. I obviously get the upwards hand part, right? Because, like, that's how he catches things with his telekinesis. But it's interesting that, I mean, maybe, because the thing is the motion lines are on both. Like, notably, this has more motion lines, but even this downward hand has motion lines. So I wonder, does he need to, like, point at the ground to levitate, or can he levitate freeform? I don't know, but it is nice enough that he has the buff that he's able to levitate in the first place, because that was one of the things I was hoping Donnie would get in terms of a buff before after the time skip now in this sense, where he can actually levitate himself, not just other people or other things. I think that's a nice solid buff. It's not too crazy, it doesn't send Donnie through the roof or anything, but once again, it does allow for more interesting combat choreography, it allows for Donnie to get into air battles, it allows Donnie to do who knows what else, depending on his environment and what he can throw at people or what people he's throwing. Very, very interested to see Donners get into like a proper fight with a real equal, not absolutely curb stomping an already fatigued Chaos Knight that Anne ended up beating, and not going up against Beltripe, someone who clearly outclasses him and his entire little crew right now, including the GOAT, which is... I'm my GOAT, bro. Why did they do it to my GOAT? I'm my GOAT! How could they do this to you? I'm sorry, GOAT there. I'm sorry. They did you dirty. They spread you. They spread you. I don't know why Nakama would do this to you. It's because Nakama doesn't like you, Gother. I hate to say it, Nakama doesn't. He just must not like you, bro. He doesn't like you. First, he takes away your new fit. Then he bisects you. I'm sorry, Gother. The creator does not appreciate your presence. But with that being the case, we see the Donners save everybody. As he says, whew, whew, just barely in time. That's the Donners for you. And we see everyone land. I do love everyone landing differently. I love how Sylvain kind of just like trots onto the ground. I love how Donnie, he has this smooth flip into it. Like you can see he's diving down head first, but he actually, I'm not sure. Maybe he does flip into it. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just like squats forward into it. But regardless, I love the motion implied by his cape flowing up and his hair flowing up in the wind. I do like how even these two land pretty safe. And once again, I wonder if the guy's gonna get a name, and I wonder if we can even trust the sister. I really don't feel like we can, but who knows? You never know with Nakama Suzuki. You never know. With that being the case, we see that the brother says, or questions to check up on his sister, "You're not hurt at all, are you?" And we see the sister say,
"Oh, actually, no, I'm fine. I'm reporting to Arthur right now, though."
Okay, obviously she's not doing that. But she says, "No, I'm fine." I know I just gave her a meme voice, but why did somebody give her a deep voice?
"No, I'm fine."
And we see that the Donners does experience some post-magical fatigue. And that's fine, that's fine. I was definitely hoping that he'd have a bit more in the tank, but it's not like bro's been doing nothing. Bro lifted up that entire section of land, broke off some pieces of it, launched it at Beltripe, had a heart attack by Beltripe, was able to catch and lash everyone together, drag them all in. So, like, he's definitely been doing a lot of advanced telekinesis stuff. So, I'm not all too mad that bro's like, oh, golly. Man, I'm beat. I'm gonna take a break. like nearly conks out. Because like I gotta imagine it'd be very, very stressful to do such complex telekinetic maneuvers back to back to back to back to back in a such short time period under such duress. So I can't even knock his hustle. Though we do get to see that he's not really given time to rest, because Anne goes, "Gother, the goat! What are we gonna do, Donnie? We didn't bring any medical gear. If only Nasians was here." Okay. Two things. Number one, why did you not bring any medical gear? Well, like, you didn't bring a hyper recovery. Here's the thing. I would get it if they didn't have access to the spell beads anymore, because, like, well, I believe it stated, I forget, I think it stated in extra, or like an extra chapter or a bonus chapter, Merlin is the one who invented and created the spell beads. I'm pretty sure it was Merlin. I'm like 90% sure it was Merlin. There's that 10% of me that's doubting it, but I'm 90% sure that was Merlin. So maybe the process for making them was just lost. But then again, Thetis seems cracked. Like we're gonna get into it in this chapter. Thetis alone seems just super duper cracked for, like, I'm not gonna say no reason, but like relatively no reason as a mage considering her original point of origin. So like, I don't know. The fact they didn't bring, like, one hyper recovery beat, and of course, you know, like, I'm a reader of Suddenly Sins. I read the chapter. I know Gother doesn't need that. In fact, I don't even think it would work on Gother. It'd be kind of like hooking up a doll to the defibrillator. Like, I mean, it may do something. It'll move when it's pressed with something, but like the doll's not gonna do much. Same thing with the hyper recovery beat for Gother, but just for like their sakes, you're telling me you didn't bring one single healing items, nothing. Like, I know you guys got super used to having Percy around who would heal you all, but like, it's been 2 years. You're telling me you didn't bring any recovery gear into the most dangerous lands you can go into? Really? Really? I wish I could say I pressed X to doubt, but it's clear that she didn't. And the other thing is, she says, if only we had Nasians here. What's a Nasian supposed to do in this scenario? Like, bro controls poisons, don't get me wrong. But like, what exactly is he supposed to do about a severed arm? Like, a severed arm and a severed, like, what was he cooking with Henbane and Belladonna? Like, what was he really about to whip up? Like, I get he's the doctor of the crew. He has the medical understanding and experience, but like, let me give a live reenactment of what Nasians would do when he sees this scenario if he were still around. Nasians, get over here! You found Percy? Oh, no, it's just one of these guys. What do you want, Anne? I'm sick and tired of you. Oh, well, we need you to heal the goat. I'm right here, and I'm perfectly fine. No. Nasi, we need you to heal Gother. Oh. I can close and cover up his wounds, I guess. What? You can't heal it? Do I look like Percy? Like, I don't think that would work out. But I do appreciate the Nasi's name drop. Once again, most outside of Lance, probably my favorite character. Those two are consistently like ming in my head in terms of boxing for who's my favorite character. Though admittedly, like 9 times out of 10, it's going to be Lance. I really like, if you couldn't tell, I really like Lance. But here's the thing: Nasians doesn't have any sussy baka moments. He doesn't. Lance has a couple. He has a couple. And there are some times where Lance as Sin got on my nerves. For good reason to preserve the twist and have a twist to begin with. But like, sometimes Sin Lance, he got on my nerves. So, I ain't gonna lie. And maybe Nasians. I don't know, Nasians, at least so far, has never explicitly fumbled for me. I mean, he's fumbled the bag. And by the bag, I mean Percy. But like, I don't blame him for that. So, interesting. However, we do get to see that the daughters goes to say, dude, you know how tired I am. What do you want from me? I can't help who's like, here or not, man. I can only pull and push things. I'm getting sick and tired, and I'm so eepy. I want to... Yeah, but I once again, I can't blame bro. Bro was spamming his magic. We do get to see that Anne is hysterical. And I almost... See, I'm not sure. Once again, welcome to That Guy with the Pencil, where I literally overread everything. But I almost want to assume the reason Anne seems so frantic here, sweating, seemingly has tears going, as she says, but Gother might perish if we don't do something. I think Percy perishing like darn near in her arms definitely traumatized her. And notably, she still does have the trauma from her mom. Like, we don't get much exploration on Anne's mom, but we know that also haunts her. But I'm assuming Percy, despite being a 2-year-old wound, still hurts a whole bunch. So I'm presuming that that's why she's like so desperate to try and save Gother, even though she had very minimal interactions with Gother, presumably out of the little we've seen the two interact. But with that being the case, I feel like that's playing into it. Donnie, he's tired, he's distracted. That's probably why it's not hitting him as much. And you see it, but you still see it in his physical motions. He's like shaking his arms about. He's still worried. And same thing with Anne here. I think, once again, I'm going to make a video about it in full. But I do 100% believe, not only did Percy make the wrong choice, Percy made a choice that deeply hurt his friends. Like, to a deep degree. Like, at 128, he ain't just fumbled the bag. He, like, threw the bag to the opposing team, ran off the court, or ran off the field, and was like, yeah, go ahead, curb stomp my group. He essentially said that. With that being the case, we see that it's the GOAT. Yeah, like, come on now. We see Gother saying, not a problem. Losing a limb or two won't slaughter me or anything. Which is very, very true. We've seen Gother get dismembered a couple times, from what I remember. The main one I remember, he lost an arm, right? He had a massive hole in his chest for one. When Dreyfus, actually no, well, to be fair, that was part of the illusion. But I think Gother, he got pierced through the chest by Dreyfus. He had his head lopped off, but he kind of just put it back on. But notably, his other body parts aren't here. I think as a byproduct of falling through the Chaos Hole as they did. Notably, Donnie mentions it last chapter. I believe it's Donnie or Anne mentions last chapter that they need to stay in contact in order to stay together when falling through the Chaos Hole. So, like, Gother's arm and leg may just be in an entirely separate spatial dimension. They may just no longer be here. And with that being the case, we see that both Anne and Donnie, well, mainly Anne is like, no way! Because, like, I can't, like, to be fair, once again, because I know Gother, it doesn't bamboozle me as much as it reasonably should. And I'm assuming this does bamboozle, like, just solo Fortnite's readers. Like, y'all are like, huh? But with that being the case, it's not even, like, who in our crew? Actually, a lot of people. I was going to say, who can just get their arm chopped off in the 7 Deadly Sins and just come back fine? Presumably, it's only be, I think, like, half of them. Gother, Mel. That may be it, though. That may be it. And when Bond, who's immortal, that was about it. But other than that, no one can just kind of lose a whole limb and be perfectly fine. Then again, Merlin lost her whole body and transferred into Alden, so maybe not. But that being the case, we see that Thetis just keeps getting, I don't know, maybe I'm nuts, maybe I'm buku bonkers or something, but is anyone else blown away by how much hype Thetis is getting? Like, Thetis is getting, like, legendary claims. Like, remember, Gother is so unbelievably powerful and perfect that Merlin, the greatest mage in all of Britannia, is like, I'll be real with you, dog. I can't improve you anymore. Like, your craftsmanship is through the roof. I cannot add anything unless you want me to add, like, a detonation device. And Gother was like, yes, add a detonation device. But Gother makes it's not necessarily a bold claim. It's a simple claim, but he says, it's a little annoying, but Thetis can repair it later. Thetis? What kind of, like, what? Like, why? I don't know. Like, am I the only one who's bamboozled by it? Like, unless I've just been wrong, or I misread Derriere's character or something, I still believe that Thetis is Derriere's reincarnate, born of Mael's reincarnation spell. And I don't ever remember Derriere being so magically adept that she'd be able to repair Gother. Like, I don't know. Gother seems like a relatively powerful creation. I'm shocked that it's so simple that Gother's like, it's a little annoying, but Thetis can repair it later. Since when? Was this a thing? Like, I don't know. Is Derriere just goated? Was she just always secretly goated with the sauce and I just never knew? Like, Like, is anyone else blown away by this, or is it just me? The fact that Derriere's reincarnate is so skilled with magic and magic tools and magical abilities that that at least that Gother is confident that she can just repair him. That it's only a little bit annoying. Like, notably, it's not like he said, "Oh, don't worry, she can reattach my arms and legs." Like, I can kind of get that. Like, when I build Legos, like if a Lego piece falls off, I can like plug the Lego piece back in. But no, presumably she's going to have to reconstruct him a whole new set. Well, not a whole new set, but a new arm and a new leg that fit and function properly with the rest of his body, and he's confident she can do this. Woman is crazy, and this isn't the craziest. Well, it kind of is the craziest thing, but maybe not really the craziest thing that happens in this chapter, because that just gets more and more hype as we'll get into, and we see that Anne is like, "How can you be so calm about losing an arm and a leg?" I mean, and it happens more often than you think in this universe. let's just put it that it happens a lot more often than you would think. Characters be losing heads in this universe, and don't worry. An arm and a leg, might as well be a regular Tuesday. But with that being the case, we see that Gother realizes, didn't I tell you people yet? Gother, why'd you have to say you people? I was gonna glaze over, but Gother, haven't I told you people yet? You ignoramuses. Haven't I ever told... talk, Gother. Chill out, bro. Bro immediately went for the throat. Haven't I told you people? I can see, he points like this. He gets all like, huh? But I know he's like, you people. Gother, chill out, bro, chill out. It's the current year right now. We can't be doing this. But with being the case, we see Gother say and explain, I'm a doll created by a great wizard long ago. Yeah, it is accurate. I mean, I do kind of wish in a similar vein, but then again, I forget if that's a mistranslation or not mistranslation. I do wish in a similar vein to Lance calling Mel his uncle, I do kind of wish Gother acknowledged the original Gother as like a father to him, because that's basically what he was. Original Gother was a father, new Gother. Gother, of course, was based off of Clarissa, original Gother's love, but for all intents and purposes, I think even original Gother in the Flashback arc does try to refer to Gother as his child, or his son, or surrogate son, or something like that. He specifically asked King and Diane to teach him how to be a good man, or stuff like that. So, I am kind of leaning towards the idea that, realistically, he should acknowledge that more, but once again, this is kind of just a sprinkle of an Easter egg. If you haven't read Four Knights, you're just gonna, or no, if you haven't read Seven Deadly Sins, you're just gonna be like, oh, well, that's neat, I guess he's a puppet. But if you read Seven Deadly Sins, you're gonna be like, he's talking about original Gother, his pops, and I do like I like how Nakaba sprinkles in references from the original series, because typically whenever he does it, unless it's very explicit, it drops at the end of a chapter, usually they're very, very subtle. They're like light drizzles. Things that just kind of appear, and I've even missed some. Some people pointed out some of these Sins references that I've just flat out missed in earlier chapters. So I like how Nakaba does it, where he's able to just sprinkle in a reference here and there to make us remember the original series, but it's still not required reading. This is just basic exposition, but on a character level. To me, what tickles my heart and soul is the fact that I know original Gother. I know the story behind it. I know the bond and trust he had in the new Gother. I like all that. It tickles my soul a little bit. But of course, we do get to see that Donnie and Anne are like, what do you mean by you people? Okay. They say, huh? A doll? And yeah. I don't fully blame their reactions here. If I were to suddenly find out spontaneously that one of the saviors of the world was a doll, when for the longest time I could have sworn they were at least a generic dude, I'd be a teeny tiny bit shocked too. And with that being the case, we do get to see this. Yeah, but this essentially allows Gother to reveal what Anne immediately realizes, and that's why you made it into Camelot. Bingo, access is blocked to the other tribes. Interesting. The title for them always changes. It's either race, species, tribes, and clans. Those are typically the four. Tribes is a very recent one, though. But yep, bingo. I guess bingo does exist in that world. Bingo, access is blocked for the other tribes. Demons, goddesses, fairies, and giants. Notably not vampires. Probably vampires, too. But presumably, it's interesting that Gother's the only one to show up, though. This does open the door for more characters from the original series to show up, whether it be other holy knights, such as Hauser, or the main ones I'm interested to see, Bond and Elizabeth in particular coming in to join the fray. Those two can show up in Camelot and start whipping it up in the kitchen just a little bit. That's what I'm excited to see first and foremost, because those two have no reason not to enter either. Because Elizabeth is the same as Tristan, mostly human. In fact, you can definitely argue she's more human than Tristan, meaning if Tristan can enter Camelot, so should Elizabeth be able to, and also Bond. Bond is fully human, despite being fundamentally altered by the Fountain of Youth and over 1,000 years of purgatory. He's still human. So, legally speaking, Bond should be viable to enter too. Gother entering first makes sense, but I would love to see the other characters invade. Though I understand why Gother in particular invaded, because presumably Meliodas is likely, just based on Anne's current sword and Donnie's dagger, presumably Meliodas is still hunting down Dabuzu to perform or get proper sacred treasures over the course of the 2-year time skip, meaning he may not be in Leonis, and Elizabeth needs to stay in Leonis in order to protect it from Arthur and crew. Same thing for Bond, and why he's most likely not leaving Benwick for an extended period of time. He only goes out to grab some ale and probably runs straight on back because he needs to protect his territory. Ultimately, they're two of the biggest defenders. One because the husband is gone, and the other because I love Elaine, kind of, but she's nowhere near as powerful as Bond. Presumably, if it was just Elaine left over, Arthur would immediately say, "Go get Benwick," and then his knights would go get Benwick. Just like Beltripe, as we see Gother says, but more pressing, far more pressing concern. A far more pressing concern to us is Arthur's minion, Beltripe, the Green Knight of the Four Evils. If we encounter him again, another escape will be unlikely. So, Beltripe is really just him. I'm very interested to figure out what his ability is when we get context for it, and I'm also wondering, what does this mean for Beltripe's scaling, especially relative to his fellow knights? And by proxy, the Sins. If you think that Gother is a monster, a beast, and a demon who's like stronger than the entire original series combined, stronger than characters like Final Shine and the one Ultimate Escanor and stuff like that, then Gother not being able to react to and getting torn apart by Beltripe so casually is insane. Very, very insane. Very, very impressive, considering Gother wouldn't be able to react or dodge or anything like that. That's very, very impressive. But if you think Gother isn't that powerful, at least not physically or speed-wise, it just react, then again, he's able to react to the Supreme Deity and like tank the Supreme Deity's lightning. I think he takes the Divine Lightning too. So the fact that he gets torn apart so easily, Beltripe is just different. Like, he seems like the one Chaos Knight that's actually built like that. For real, for real. Like, at least out of the ones we've seen so far. I love Pelg Guard. He hasn't really shown anything that puts him on that level. Ironside, we clearly see he's not Sin level. Like, bro's unable to do anything to Bond when he's reduced to 1/10 of his overall strength. So, Gother, while he definitely is a Sin tier threat, I'm wondering how much. Like, how much hype am I really supposed to give Beltripe off of this? Was Gother off guard? Or, like, what is the context? Well, we know the context. Maybe Beltripe is just him. Maybe Gother's not that him. But Gother can't not be that much him. Because, once again, in Crest Ballet, he does tank the Divine Lightning from the Supreme Deity with everyone else. So, I don't know. It actually is a little bit crazy that Beltripe is this hyped. And we see that none of the... Well, neither of Anne nor Donnie really disagree. They're like... I mean, shoot, you right, but you don't have to say it like that. But that makes sense, you know, Beltripe definitely is different. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely glad that Chaos Knights are of this caliber. Especially with Lance still running around, of being Lance a lot. Especially with Tristan, presumably getting stronger over the 2-year time skip, being Tristan. And Gawain likely getting... Sure, it may have been 2 weeks or a couple days, and she wasn't able to get a full charge then, but presumably Gawain does have a full charge now. Meaning that you do need at least some of the Four Evils, some of Arthur's best men being powerful. And I'll take it with Beltripe. He may be green, but he's a mean green machine. What can I say? But with that being the case, we see that as Anne and Donnie realize the kind of trouble they're in, even the brother realizes, oh, shoot, I may have dragged my sister into something horrible. And we see that the next natural question is like, okay, so we can't run into Beltripe again. We can't run into that guy. But where are we? And we see that Anne should admits, I don't know. Let's just start walking. And we see the sister complain, I'm hungry, big bro. Did you not see everyone almost... Like, I get you hungry, but you should have left... You should have eaten before you left the house or something, dog. Because, I'm sorry, right now is not the time. You little snitch, you little op. Like, really? Really? Is now really the time to really start popping off about, oh, I'm hungry? That's the last thing you need to worry about. What if big Papa, feels weird saying Big Papa Beltripe, but he's clearly different. Big Papa Beltripe. What if he shows up again and he'll make sure you're never hungry again. If you really want to complain about hunger right now, he'll make sure you'll never go hungry again on some Jeremy Irons and Scar type beat. You don't want that. But of course, we see that naturally the brother asks, well, can't we go back to Britannia now that we've lost our pursuers? A very valid question, considering he was offered the chance to leave. And we see that Anne admits, not from here. We really can't. And of course, he's like, Nani Daisuke? Wait, so you don't know the way back home after all? You're trash. You're ugly. You're stupid. These guys saved your life. Like, dog, you would be in the cauldron of Offwind right now. Hop off. Like, take a few steps back and hop off. Bro. Hop off me. Stop riding. Stop doing twists on it. Chill, bro. Chill. I mean, it is that deep, but it's not that deep, bro. Chill out. Back up. Be you back up. But with that being the case, we see that Donnie's like, whoa. Chill out, broski. Let me explain. Being the Chad Donners I am. So, here's the quick version, considering the long version would probably drive Pencil insane. Anyway, 2 years ago, we found some info that led us to the door to Camelot, at the cost of losing one of our friends. And Gother explains, yes, a warped, unstable crack in dimensional space. Dimensional! And remember where this crack is occurring. Considering what Donnie says, 2 years ago, we found some info that led us to a door to Camelot, at the cost of losing one of our friends. Presumably this is, based on its appearance and the statement and the time frame, this is the Demon World portal. Remember, the portal in the Demon World. So there was a dimensional tear in space in the Demon World. Not just a generic portal or any breach in the space-time or anything like that. But interesting that dimension is used. Once again, I'm very interested to see once the official translations come out. Because I think maybe these are officials, maybe they aren't. But I'm interested to see what the manga volume says. Because dimension has been getting used a whole lot more. Like, I believe Zeldris describes the Demon World as its own dimension. This is another use of the word dimension. I think there's a third one that I'm forgetting the exact location of. So yeah, like, dimension is getting a lot more commonly used. And here's the thing. Notably, in fact... Yeah, they're right there. Hold on. The reason dimension is getting me caught so off guard and having me freaking geek a little bit is because of the big context and the scaling implications that the usage of the word dimension has versus the word that's typically used. Well, let me see if I can find it. I'm currently flipping through volume 33. Maybe it was in volume 32? Looks like it was in volume... Yeah, it was in volume 32 then. So 1 second, we'll grab that one. The term dimension is rarely used when it comes in the context of creating separate spaces. That's the term that's consistently used. Like, this is from Kodansha Comics. And let me see. Let me find the statement about the domain of God. Let me see. Here we go. A warped, twisted, and broken man. What is this? And Nels died. Retribution, revenge will now be ours. I'm trying to see. Where am I? What is it? There we go. I'm not sure if the camera will flip it so it's readable, but it says, this is a space created by our graces. Typically, the Demon World, at least in the original series, from what I remember, is described as a separate space. The Celestial Realm describes a separate space. Heck, the Domain of God, clearly in this volume, is described also as a separate space. This is kind of how I'm always iffy about, like, the Demon World or the Celestial Realm or any of the other creations outside of maybe Purgatory, the only separate space-time that's very specifically noted as a separate space-time. That's why I'm always hesitant to be like, Universal Supreme Deity, Universal Demon King, Universal stuff like that. But with the usage and seemingly consistent usage of the word dimension, we're going to have to push that up, because that's an entirely separate space-time. Of course, the size of the space-time still does matter to a degree, but creating space and time versus just creating a separate space, the scales are much different, regardless of the size of the realm. Like, creating a whole entire pocket dimension with its own time flow is still very, very impressive. So the use of space or dimensional space, not just the word space, because Gother easily could have said, yes, a warped, unstable crack in space. Like, yeah, that's still good enough and of its own, but very specifically dimensional space from Gother of all characters is being used. And Gother's purely objective, would not really be lying or trying to gas up an agenda or anything like that. Me! I'm an agenda pusher. But with that being the case, we see that Thetis is just goaded, because I guess what is explained here. Right, and it's been set in place and managed by Thetis, Mage of Leonis. So, as long as we can tip Thetis off about our location, she'll toss the door in our direction. So, this implies, at least to me, this implies that Thetis appeared in the demon realm, teleported there, I guess, somehow put the dimensional space tear in a little box and took it back to Leonis or something. Or at least is keeping it on her. And has it on her and keep it on her at all times, which is crazy. Once again, this level of mage prowess is something that I don't think we've ever, I don't even think we've seen Merlin, without, separate spaces, or the ability to manipulate dimensional tears and cracks in reality. Thetis is just different. If Thetis is this good as a mage, I want to see what other crazy feats Merlin's going to get, or Gawain's going to get, because this is all wild. But with that being the case, Donnie reveals, but that's still our only ticket into Camelot. If we let the enemy see it, they could destroy it, or us, or destroy it on us. It's pretty darn big, too. We gotta carefully think about where we summon it. But, admittedly, I do think, I guess I understand why they don't want to summon it here, though. Because they are right beneath the Chaos Hole. And Beltripe could dive through at any moment. And Beltripe's already revealed the ability to just cut space. So this dimensional tear, their only one, is very, very fragile, most likely. Even if it is big, presumably Beltripe would be able to interact with it in a sense that it could tear it apart. So I do understand why they don't summon it here. Though once they walk away from a bit, or wait a little bit longer to see if Beltripe follows through, I would have opened it and dipped up out of there. It didn't seem safe. But with that being the case, we see the crew begins to dip. And Donnie is walking, carrying the goat. The guy is strolling along, and Sylvan, poor Sylvan, is being forced to carry the girl, and Anne is dragging him along. And we see a weird thing. I'm going to assume this is Anne. I'm going to make a big assumption that Anne is just taking a guess at what Sylvan is implying and can't actually understand him because of the translation of his horse speech right here and the extra line around his speech bubble. Give me a carrot, and I'll fly you out of here. And we see that Anne reveals, no magic carrots, okay? Flying would all but tell the enemy where we are. Keep walking. I get kind of what she means about that, especially since a lot of Chaos Knights have shown the ability to either fly completely autonomously, such as the case of Beltripe and Talisker, or characters like Pelg Guard, who are just able to hop on a device that allows them to fly. So I do get the worry about that, but just for Sylvan's sake, I give him a little power booster just so we can trot along easier. At least do that for him. Bro's clearly suffering. Though we do get to see that they realize that they're not in the middle of nowhere, or at least not legally, as they see, whoa, there's a big castle up ahead. A building? Some sort of castle? And we see someone starts booking it towards them. And they may have that dog, as we see that Gother, just knock up through Gother, decides to pierce me straight in my soul, as Gother declares, this brings me back. And Donnie naturally asks, huh? What does? And we see, as a sweet callback to, I believe, Season 1 of Seven Deadly Sins, because this is way back. This is, darn near a decade ago. Okay, maybe I'm dragging it. Is it really a decade ago? I think it may be a decade ago. Ooh, am I that old? Oh, my mortality creeps upon me every single waking day. When did Seven Deadly Sins start getting I think 2012? Jeez, it may have actually been a decade since this moment. But at least in our world. It's been more than a decade in their world. But we see Gother remarks that when we retook the capital 18 years ago, Hauser gave me a ride when I was hurt, despite being my enemy. And that's sweet. That is a nice little callback to Hauser. I do wonder if we're going to see him again. I wonder if we're going to see him, Gila, any of the other Knights of Leonis. I'm very interested to see how we handle this time skip and how we handle the perspective shifts. But we see Donnie, despite his uncle clearly not being the best of people, he did beat on his nephew. With that being the case, yeah, my uncle ain't all bad, right? And we see Gother Ship admit, you two are a lot alike. And I do I like the look that Gother's giving Donnie there. Gother, calm down. You a little bit too old for him. Not just gone. But with that being the case, I do like how much softer Gother's rectangular speech bubbles have become, just to show that he's more and more organic and human in his feelings and emotions than he was before. And we see that Broski, who got dragged along with all this, he's like, okay, nice for you to talk about your family reunions and stuff like that, but is there really no hope for my sister? Because I really want her to see her mother again. Your mother? Our mother? What do you mean her mother? Like, were you adopted, Brucko? I said Brucko. Bucko? Like, what's going on here? But of course, minor translation thing. And we see Anne say, shh, enough chit-chat for now. We have to make it out of here first. Which is true. They do need to roll around at the speed of sound. But unfortunately, they ain't got no time to be rolling around at no darn speed of sound. Because look who decided to show up. But look at what he's got on his neck. Pay attention. This big old beast. This big old dog. And we see that Donnie immediately recognizes, wait a minute, it's the same wolf monster that we ran into back in Payson. Oh no way, I won't let you do this. And he immediately lifts, I love it, he lifts the fox into the air instantaneously, or the wolf. He's like, you think that's gonna scare me now? Not Donnie here, let me tell you. I'll slap my meat right across your forehead like a Chad, like my uncle would. Now, how about I toss you to Kingdom Come? I do love how Donnie has such a violent reaction to it. Because remember, he did have to be saved by Percy all that time ago. Literally years in our world and there. I think it's a little bit 2 years. Now I think about it, both in their world and in our world. I think it's literally been 2 years since that moment. The anime recently dropped that a few months back. But like, it has legit been 2 years in universe and out of universe. How coincidental. Well, with that being the case, we see that Anne's like, hold it! On some Phoenix Wright type beat. And Donnie's like, what is it, Anne? I'm about to yeet this guy to Kingdom Come. And we see that Anne's like, look around you, you idiot. And the Donner is always like, oh shoot. Nakaba forgot to finish inking this chapter. He really should hire an assistant. But they surrounded us? Yeah, they are definitely about to get ganked by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different members. Well, actually, no, I think this is just 5 different members of Wolfgang. And I ain't talking about the art. Wait. Am I thinking? Mozart. There's an artist named Wolfgang, right? Am I thinking? Like a music artist? I don't know. But that being the case, they're about to get jumped by Wolfgang. And we see that Donnie realizes that, we went into their territory. But ironically enough, Mr. Unnamed Older Brother's like, no, look at them. Huh? Collars. Oh, I wonder who could collar such powerful beasts. We see that Gother goes on to say, it seems not. Apparently, we're in their owner's territory. And Donnie naturally goes, ugh, and who might that master be? And we see that a certain man, Chad walks up and he's like, well, of all the unexpected guests, how did you make it over here? And we see that they're bamboozled and blown away as Anne goes, it's you! And Donnie's like, by total coincidence, how else? As a certain Chadley man says, well, let's just call it fate then. And we see that Donnie and Anne both immediately go to square up. They're ready to throw smoke. I'm not sure. Like, did Donnie just drop Gother off panel? Like, no, he's still holding Gother here. Then Gother immediately just disappears in this shot. Once again, I'm assuming this just comes from the incomplete nature of the chapter. But we see that a certain man is like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want to fight you right now. And Anne naturally asks, then what do you want from us? And the goat himself declares, why don't we have a nice little conversation? The Black Knight, Pelg Guard. He's here. There's voices everywhere. He's here. There's magic in the air. He's blazing. He's going to have a conversation with our crew. And of course, the chapter would have to be worthy. Ooh. For the goat is here. He's now. But yes, Pelg Guard, the blazing goat, has in fact returned to us. Though admittedly, this isn't the first debut of him in the time skip. Like we saw him with Ironside getting absolutely scared the life out of by Bond. We did see that. But still, I do love Pelg Guard. I'm excited to have Pelg Guard back and actually interacting with our current cast and crew that won't immediately raffle stomp him. I'm interested to see what he's going to talk with them about. I'm interested to see how he feels about Percy getting got and the way that Percy got. In 128, we already see he wasn't all too happy with that. So I'm interested to see how he feels. I'm just so duper excited. Once again, this chapter is pretty short. I did have a lot to say about it, surprisingly enough. Just welcome to Back on the Pencil, where I can yab about pretty much anything endlessly. But overall, a really, really good chapter. Simple, yet sweet. I hope Nakaba takes time to recover, or whatever the reason why the chapter is so short after like a 3-week break. I hope that gets resolved. I hope Bro can rest. I hope he hires an assistant or something. But with that being the case, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave the Black Beast on some Blaze Blue type beat. Oh, is it Blaze Blue or is it Blaze Blue? There's no E. But leave the Black Beast in the comment section down below. And thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any video segment of the channel. Also, I do happen to have a pop Patreon down below where you can support me for as little as $1 a month. Get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as little as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks include not only the ad-free variation of this video, but also the live reaction to this very chapter. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That on the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays and Red Wolf 4765. I'd like to give a very big thank you to our $5 patrons, Sean Gray, Red Wolf 4765, Midnight Gemlord, Kevin, Demix LND, and Artgoon. I'd like to give another super big thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Joaquin, and Idemokami. And a final very big thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose.